I want to share with you how you can stay in full control no matter what the circumstances when you realize this. Hello everyone, Tanya Pluckers here from Rich Result Mindsets. I'm all about helping you master your mind so you can master your life. And if any of my storytelling is exciting you, delighting you, inspiring you, motivating you, whatever, please consider sharing, liking. Oh, I'd love it if you would subscribe. Okay, so let me get going with this teaching today. So the whole subject today is about you staying in control no matter what is going on outside of you. No matter what, you literally can stay in full control when you actually know or understand what's really going on. Okay, so often we are giving our power away to people, places, and things because of a number of things. First of all, let me introduce you to the stick person. The stick person will make you millions. Anyway, here's the stick person. And this is your mind, this is your body. And the mind here is made up of your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. And these antennas are your five senses, okay? And I really am just giving you an image to work off, because we don't actually have a picture of the mind, but the stick person helps you create an image, okay? So what happens is often something will happen over here. You'll be activated by a subject. It might be money. It could be a certain person. It could be a situation. And what happens is your antennas, these are your five senses, pick up whatever's happening, and they take this information and put it into your conscious mind. And once it's in the conscious mind, that is where your higher faculties are held. Intuition, perception, it would be your memory, reason, imagination, and there's one more. Anyway, what happens is your perception picks up, is trying to perceive the situation that the five senses have dropped in. You've heard something, you saw something, it's dropped into your conscious mind, and your perception then is looking for, trying to understand the information, and it can, if your perception is off, it can activate your paradigm or your programming that's inside the subconscious mind. And so you can perceive a situation as in a certain way and then make up your mind or judge it whether it's right or wrong. Okay, so that's giving you an understanding as to why you are sometimes activated and why you lose control. You literally give your power away to, as I say, Tom, Dick, or Harry, but you're giving your power away based on how you're perceiving it, okay, the situation. Often we tend to, once we've perceived something, we are making up a story about it, and the story might come from the paradigm, our programming inside the subconscious mind. We are making up a story about it based on past experiences that have happened to us. We are attaching a story to this activation. But I want to just highlight to you that you don't actually have to go there, right? You don't actually have to allow your mind to make up a story if you, first of all, understand what's going on, and you can catch your thoughts there and get rid of them as quickly as you can without it getting into your subconscious mind. Because once any emotion is attached to that story, it's inside your subconscious mind, okay? So you've got to remember that the outside world is very fickle. It really is very fickle. It's the meaning we place on the activation that creates the story. Yet the outside world is constantly changing. The reality of the outside world is constantly changing based on how we are perceiving the situation, right? But you can perceive anything the way you want to perceive it to be and stay in full control no matter what. A good example would be, I live in Vegas, so I often have to use Southwest. It seems to be the airline of choice here in Vegas. They have a big hub here, and I tend to have to use Southwest to travel around in the States. Okay, so when I get on Southwest, there's a story about Southwest, a certain paradigm I have to be part of when I am flying on Southwest, okay? And I have to be very careful that I don't buy into that story or the programming, this paradigm or culture that I am in this environment of for a period of time when I'm flying with them. Because, oh boy, I can be so activated when I'm on Southwest, because I used to work for an airline called Qantas out of Australia, and it is Australia's, you know, #1 leading airline. And so I'm often comparing Southwest to Qantas. Oh my God, don't let me go there. Anyway, so I have to fly Southwest, and I have to be very careful I don't buy into that story, but to make sure I stay in my story. And my story is my reality. It's how I want to perceive my world. Okay, so I have to always be guarding my mind by making sure that whatever I'm seeing or hearing, that I don't let it get into my subconscious mind. It's a lot of work. Now, when I used to, another line of work I used to do here in Vegas was fly on private jets. I used to do a lot of work for MGM on their private jets, and that was a very different experience because I was part of a very different story. And so that environment had a different feeling about it. And of course, the clients had a different expectation about it. It was just a different story. But even when I was working on the private jets, I've got to be honest, I had to be very careful to also stay in my lane and not give my power away or buy into certain clients I was carrying and their story. I just had to maintain the story. I'm working for MGM today. This is the story I need to represent, and that's the way it's going to be. Okay? So my broadcast to you today is, what story are you buying into? Because it is a choice. It literally is a choice, and you get to decide which story you want to buy into. I highly recommend that you don't believe your 5 senses. Even Neville Goddard talks about this in his work. Don't believe these anymore. You get to design your own story. You get to stay in your hula hoop, as I say, and live more in your imagination than live in this 3D reality, this current reality. Because I can tell you right now, my imagination is far more luxurious and opulent than flying on Southwest. And it's even more delicious than flying on the private jets, because I am staying in my story no matter what. The story I'm creating that's already done, right? I have it, but I'm just maintaining that story more than allowing myself to be a puppet and buying into other people's stories. And you can do this with any subject. So whenever you are activated, always say, am I buying into that person's story, or am I going to stay in my story, protect myself, milk my story, and just not worry what other people are up to? So the decision is up to you. Leave your comments if this is resonating with you, and I'd love to hear how you have been able to stay in your hula hoop no matter what is going on the outside.